Hello and welcome everyone. We have a few folks coming on still, which is great, but come on in. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is Brad Cooper with Accounting Works Pro, and we're here to talk about how to build a five-star practice. We hear from CPAs, virtual CFOs, enrolled agents, bookkeepers, tax professionals, from all around the country about this particular topic all the time. This is probably one of the most popular and one of the hottest things going on right now, and it's also one of the most important things to pay attention to. And we get questions like, how do I get more five-star reviews? What happens if I get a one-star review or I got a one-star review? How do I build my reputation? Does this stuff matter? So we get a lot of questions about this topic. 3 years ago, I would say, we also got a lot of accountants and tax professionals who were just scared of this topic, who didn't want to get reviews, who were afraid of the one-star review. But I think slowly over the last few years, things have improved. People are starting to understand the value of this. And for example, we have a client in Northern California, a tax professional. She figured this out a long time ago, and she is just rocking it. She is killing it because she got tons and tons of five-star reviews and built a five-star practice. So that's one example. We have many, so lots to talk about, and we can get right into it here in a second, but this will be a very valuable presentation. I think you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to get a lot of it out of it, and I think things that you probably have not heard or seen in other places. So we'll get right into it here, and before we do, though, I did want to introduce my co-presenter here, who's also our five-star CEO of Accounting Works Pro, and that's Lee Reams. Lee, say hello to the folks and go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about five-star practices and marketing with the tax and accounting space. I think it's an important part of the disruption that's going on, and I think the accounting space, the tax professionals are really starting to understand, I need to really work on this, and it's something that now is not something that I could just put my head in the sand and kind of ignore. It's definitely something that needs to be part of your marketing plan.
Okay, cool. And so I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself, I guess. So again, Brad Cooper, and have been in this space quite a while, probably in the past 10 years or so in particular, working with thousands of small practices, helping them to get more from their marketing, and especially when it comes to building reputation and more five-star reviews. So this is something Lee and I have done for many years, and we're really looking forward to talking to you about it. Our contact information is there on the screen, and as well as our LinkedIn profiles. We do appreciate and love connecting with folks on LinkedIn, so go ahead and invite us, and we'll go ahead and connect you on LinkedIn. Okay, so a little bit about our company. So Accounting Works Pro is the name of our marketing automation platform. And our corporate name is ClientWise, and many of our clients and many of you may know us as ClientWise. We've recently sort of rebranded at least a part of our software and our programs to Accounting Works Pro. And we also have accountingworks.com, which we'll talk about here in this webinar as our reputation building website along with taxbuzz.com. But we do things like websites and email newsletters and social media and search engine optimization, all the things that you see on your screen right there. We have thousands of accountants just like you around the country, including some of the nice smiling faces that you see on your screen right now. These are not stock photos, but actually some of the amazing accounting and tax professionals we have the honor of working with at Accounting Works Pro. And we help them in all of these things. And we have webinars, and we love teaching also. And that's why we're doing this webinar today. So each one of these topics, we recently had a webinar on social media and all of these other topics. We have great webinars. We do have a great blog which talks about all these things. Lee has been also producing these quick hit videos that you can check out as well that touch on some specifics within each of these areas. And so today we're obviously going to talk about the reputation building part of that, but there's lots more content that we do on all of these different topics. Okay, so about this webinar. So today it's going to be about an hour. Please do stay through the end. It is required for CPE credit along with answering all the 4 poll questions. And you need to stay at the end because we're going to have some special offers just for you. You should be able to see a little handout download button there on your screen, and there's also a little question button there on the bottom right hand corner of your screen as well. You're in listen only mode right now, but please do use the question icon to ask us any questions, and we will save those to the very end, and we'll answer some of them at the end, but we'll definitely respond back to you after the webinar is over and answer any questions that you have. This webinar is designed for US-based small tax and accounting practices. However, any business may benefit. If you're not one of those categories, or if you're some other category, you're an attorney or something like that, you can definitely benefit as well, but we are not attorneys, so the little disclaimer there, so please do consult your either association or your attorney or governing bodies, especially around any ethical type issues. I covered this a minute ago, but the CPE credit is only for CPAs. Would love to give it for enrolled agents, but really only right now as far as marketing content. We are authorized to do this for CPAs, and you must attend the whole hour. You need to answer all 4 poll questions, and we'll email you with all the specifics on how to get your CPE credit. If you don't see that, then email us and let us know, and we'll get you the information. So what we're going to learn today, some really good background on all this. So we're going to talk about practical ways to generate positive online reviews. ways to avoid and deal with what we talked about a moment ago, which is negative reviews or the one-star reviews. So we will touch on that and give you some great strategies to deal with those. Tips on maximizing online review websites and profiles that you have on those sites. And we'll talk about that. And then concrete next steps for you to build a 5-star practice. So we find actually during this webinar, we see it coming through, people actually, while they're on the webinar, are actually like claiming their TaxBuzz profile or claiming their AccountingWorks profile. And we see those come in. And so you can actually, this is the one webinar where you can actually start building your 5-star practice right when you're on the webinar. Wouldn't encourage you to do that too much because you might not pay attention. I'm going to go ahead and start off with Lee with some threats to practices.
All right. Well, thank you, Brad. So I think, I don't like this to be a downer thing. I often want these to be more aspirational, kind of, how can you guys succeed? What are the tools that we can help you succeed? But the reality is there is disruption going on in our industry. There are threats to small practices. The obvious ones, DIY software, automation, things like TurboTax, QuickBooks, Xero. A lot of things they are doing that were things that you used to be able to charge to do. Now software is doing it automatically. The big tax franchises, they're branching out. They're getting more aggressive. They're spending more in their marketing budgets. Big CPA firms, KPMG bought Bookly. They are using some of the new technology to kind of automate and go after clients that really weren't in their space before. Artificial intelligence, as machine learning continues to grow and becomes more integral in your practice, you're going to see the advantages and the disadvantages, right? So there are some threats there. So what you don't want to happen is you don't want to get left behind. And there's 3 main things here. And I think it's all 3 are important. You can't really skip one and be successful in the future. So, are you using the latest technology? Are you using onboarding tools? Are you using the, responsive websites? Are you using secure HTTPS on your website? Things like that are really important, and clients expect that. Some clients will actually trust a website now, obviously, and buy something without the other 2 components here. So client satisfaction and online reputation. So are you serving your clients well? Do you have a lot of social proof? Do you have a lot of testimonials, reviews? So those are kind of important things that we'll touch on throughout this webcast. What is your best counter to these threats? So it's the 5-star reviews. I call it social proof. There's a bunch of different ways. You can Google different things if you want to read about it later. But the reality is, if you can showcase your practice in a positive light, whether a review on a site like Yelp or TaxBuzz, or if a traditional word-of-mouth referral, you know what's going to happen. It doesn't happen in a vacuum anymore. They're going to Google your name, and what they see in the Google results is going to be key on whether they even call you or not. And if it's all positive, it's going to be a much easier transition to become a client. They're going to trust you right away. So the old days, word of mouth equals trust, right? So if a friend told you, hey, I work with, Lee, and he's a great guy, he's responsive, he's an expert, he's really into my family and what I'm doing, I have a great relationship, you're going to just say, that's kind of all you really needed to know in order to contact someone to work with them. But in the reality, today's world, word of mouth plus what that online reputation is. So what does it look like online, whether it be on social media sites, whether it be on review sites? Those are the 2 combined, which equals trust. So that's kind of the way things have changed. So the importance of online reviews is accountants. I know you guys like statistics, and a lot of this is readily available. You can Google enough different Bright Local. There's all kinds of sources for studies. Basically, we know based on just even what Amazon has done is reviews matter. So people read reviews and make buying decisions based on what other people say about products or services. 82% of Americans say they seek recommendations from friends and families when considering a purchase. I mean, obviously, that's the way the buying process works now. 92% of consumers now read online reviews, and that's up from before. And people are getting better at kind of seeing what is a real review versus kind of a review that may be bought or something else. So you can really tell when you see a genuine review. You can kind of read about pain points that you've solved, and customers tell the story much better than you can in any marketing material. And the third thing here is consumers are likely to spend 31% more on a business with excellent reviews. So this comes down to the beginning of a relationship. It's even in your pricing. Are they going to trust your advice? Obviously, any good working relationship with a client, they want you to, you want them to trust you, right? So the more they trust you, I think it's a better long-term relationship. They spend more time with you. They might do more services with you. In reality, they're going to be willing to spend a little bit more. If they, the more they trust you, the better the relationship, the more you're going to be able to build. So the importance of online reviews. I think the big deal here is the 5-star reviews boost your search click-through by 28%, right? That is a huge difference, from a 3-star review. So I think these are things that are kind of common sense, but the reality is, hey, the statistics say the same thing. So it's a real important thing to kind of look at and say, okay, the higher my review profile, closer to a 5-star, obviously the more traffic and the more visitors I'm going to have, some more opportunities for people to become clients. So the other part of this is the importance of reviews when it comes to Google. And when someone Googles your name, basically what is the picture that they're going to see, right? So what you want is 5-star reviews all over the place. So these are snippets that are in code on the review sites, and basically they will take, how many reviews you have. So here for Karen, basically she has a near a 5 with 18 reviews, rating on Accounting Works a 5 with 9 reviews. But what I'm looking at here is if you Google this person, you may not even read all of these, but right away the picture is, hey, there's 4 different sections here. This person is obviously credible. People obviously trust her and are willing to leave their opinion about her. So I think what this does is, if this was a referral, they're more likely to call them and become a client, and it just takes the whole fear or the risk out of the buying process. It kind of minimizes it, if that makes sense. So this is issue 1, and issue 2 is, where is the real estate? If you have more and more positive things about you at the top of the search results, whether it be your Google My Business page, whether it be where your website is, and review sites that balance it out, I think that really helps push any negative information about you and also pushes competitors away. So the more profiles that you have dominated, the more likely that your business is going to be profiled. So, showcase is a better word. This is the importance of kind of the Google real estate side. So as you're seeing here, it's important to own that type of real estate. Now, the next thing is, the world is not just 5-star reviews anymore. Facebook has made a big change. And if you've never heard of Nextdoor, in areas out here in California, it's everywhere. In most populated areas, it's everywhere. But Nextdoor is a neighborly social media site, a ton of recommending going on there, and Facebook as well. So Facebook has replaced their reviews with recommendations. The old saying, well, it's all word of mouth. Well, yeah, it is word of mouth, and it's happening on these social media sites. So Facebook, huge traffic. Obviously, a ton of people are still on Facebook. Nextdoor is kind of the new up-and-comer. I've seen a ton of review requests or recommendations through that platform as well. So I think if you do not have a presence on either one of these sites, you need to get a presence. And it'll be harder to find you, and someone has to then kind of list your business. So if you're proactive and get yourself set up on Facebook and have a really strong profile, or even Nextdoor, when people recommend you, it's much easier for them to find your contact information and you look credible. Kind of, let's look into a little bit of the Facebook recommend tool. Kind of the way it works, here on the left side, a person can literally, their technology is smart enough to know, when you're asking this question, I'm looking for a recommendation. I'm looking for a recommendation for a new accountant in the Valley, any recommendations? So the way it will work is that will be then posted either to their story or their news feed for a broader group, and then people will start responding. So here on the right side, you'll see somebody has recommended Wendy's tax tips. Now what's nice here is Wendy has a Facebook profile, and it is hyperlinked with a preview in the responses. These other 2 recommendations are kind of Whitewood and Associates of Westlake. No phone number, no easy way for me to now find out and contact this person. This person at least put the phone number of who they referred, so that makes it a little bit easier. But if you had a solid profile already, you're going to show up in the preview here. So I think that's an important thing for those that are saying, hey, I don't want to be on Facebook. Well, yes, you do. And this is kind of a proof, exactly why you should do that. The Nextdoor recommendation tool is very similar. Again, if you don't have Nextdoor in your area, try to get yourself on it. But it is a lot of business going on, a lot of conversations going on about local issues. But for sure, people are asking all the time, I need a recommendation for a roofer, a contractor, an accountant, a bookkeeper, a tax pro. So it's another funnel, so to speak, that if you have a strong presence and are active, the more likely you are going to be recommended. So these are 2 main areas that are a little bit different than the traditional 5-star reviews, but recommending is kind of the new trend and something you need to be on the lookout for.
Okay, great. Thanks, Lee. And so Lee gave you a really great background there on why online reviews, how they've changed, how word of mouth has changed, why it's important, and then 2 updates there on Facebook and Nextdoor, kind of updates that, it's changing now, just not from review standpoint necessarily, but recommendations as well. We're going to give the first poll question, and so you'll find that these are in varying degrees of difficulty. I would say this first one is pretty low on the degree of difficulty. So in today's modern world, word of mouth is not enough. Most people also care about online reviews, true or false. I'm going to go ahead and launch this. So you see it on the screen here, but now you should be able to see the poll question come up here. So in today's modern world, word of mouth is not enough. Most people also care about online reviews. And Lee, I think, showed you some statistics there that should have helped you really answer this question. And I'm going to go ahead and let folks go ahead and answer that. Please answer as soon as you can. And I'm going to go ahead and close the poll question in 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, great. Looks like folks did pretty well there. So going to go ahead and move on to the next slide here. And so again, Lee gave you some great background, lots of great things to sort of think about, the importance of reviews. So now let's go do it. Let's get some good practical ways to build your 5-star practice. So we're going to give you 5 steps to build 5 stars. So you get a little star for each step, I guess. So step 1. Lee is going to talk about here in a minute, and then we'll take you all the way through step 5, and we'll come back to this at the end and kind of recap it all. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Lee with step 1.
Very good. So we say it starts with you, and the best example here is, the last thing you want to communicate to your clients is, I'm too busy to, don't bother me when I'm stressed out. I'm too busy to do this. Ignoring clients. I mean, these are things that happen when people get busy, and especially in seasonal type businesses where things ebb and flow. The reality is you can't let your clients see that or feel that. In order to attract 5-star reviews, you need to provide a service worthy of it, right? You need to love and excel at what you do. People can tell if you're not happy at what you're doing, and it's going to reflect in your practice. It's going to be much harder to get reviews. When you send out review requests, you might not get many, and you're going to wonder, well, what exactly, what's going on? And the reality is, maybe look inward and say, hey, what could I do better in order to serve my clients so they love me? They really, without, if I ask, they're going to just go overboard to kind of really talk about me, right? They feel good about referring you. So one of the other issues is be selective on the people that you choose as your clients. The people, the type of work you take on. So don't do something that you feel like you're doing someone a favor. If it's a price point you don't feel comfortable with, and they're a troubled client, perhaps that's time to kind of cut bait, right? So it's definitely important to be selective in the clients that you choose. Be friendly, honest, and transparent. So if you are busy, just let someone know, hey, I know you sent this information request. Hey, I'm kind of busy right now. I'm going to try to get to you on X day, and then follow through. I think that's a very important thing. People don't mind waiting as long as you communicate, hey, what are the expectations? And then if you respond sooner, it's even a bigger win, right? A big thing, especially now with tax reform, especially if you're in the tax business and in the cloud accounting space, you really need to know your stuff. People expect you to be an expert. The DIY is getting better and better. So if you're not adding a value added and being someone who actually checked that the software is doing it correctly, or that's a big deal, right? So know your stuff. Get your continuing education. Take it seriously. Use resources that can help you, with the tough questions. And it really matters, right? And that goes as far as your staff. So we see it all the time. Reviews, 1-star reviews, because the front receptionist or the person who answers the phone is rude, or they feel they've been dismissed, or they had to wait in the lobby too long with no feedback. I think that's a huge issue, and it's something you need to think about. So it comes down to designing and running smooth client operations. So really think through all your processes. How do you handle leads when they come in? How do you onboard clients? How do you respond to clients, when they're requests? Really have a solid system in place, and I think it's reflected in the people that do this well are all the 5-star practices. So it goes back to, again, be responsive. I know this is common sense, but answer your phone. I mean, I can't tell you how many pros voicemails are full. I mean, can you imagine calling a business and you're stressed out about a financial situation and the voicemail is full? And we see this all the time. We actually will kind of test how clients talk to their clients, right? So our customers, and we kind of look through, what can they improve right away? And that's usually an area that is neglected. Return phone calls and emails quickly. People don't like to wait. Reply completely and answer all questions. You know that situation where there's 5 points and you answer 3 or 4 and you just leave the others unanswered. Look at this meticulous that you don't make those kind of errors. Be on time for your calls and appointments. You need to value and respect your client's time. And these are kind of, again, easy things that you can do that really will be a big gain in how your practice is viewed by your client base. So I'm going to bring it back over to step 2 for Brad to kind of take over here.
Okay, great. Thanks, Lee. Yeah, and on that topic of just being responsive, we have a great blog article on that as well. We can send you some of these links to some of these specific topics we could do whole webinars on. So being responsive is one we could do there's a lot of material there to do a whole webinar on. So step 1 is, it starts with you, and make sure you're delivering a quality service and a quality 5-star practice. Second step is, once you have that, and you've got a solid practice, who is going to be your target? Who's going to be your ideal client? What's your unique offering? And then just how do you bring that to everyone? How do you bring that to prospective clients and clients online? Because now, really, the first impression a lot of people will actually have with you is online. As Lee said, even if you get a referral, what do? They go to Google, they Google you, they try to find you, and then they'll find things online. Maybe, hopefully they will, and hopefully you have lots of great content online for people to find and look you up. It's the beginning of the relationship in many cases, and then it's the ongoing relationship with clients, in terms of clients going to your portal to get documents, going to read your online newsletters, looking for your contact information. Your website and all your other aspects of your online presence are places people are going to interact with you. And so it's very, very important to have a great online brand and a great online presence. So fortunately, it's not difficult. You can get folks like us to help. Building online presence includes your website, includes a blog, which kind of establishes your credibility and your knowledge base, search engine optimization to make sure you're showing up when people search for you, things like newsletters, social media profile pages, having videos. These are all great ways to demonstrate your expertise and to build your brand online. And there's lots of ways to do that. And then also make sure that communicates what you come up with as your unique offering and who your ideal client is. So if you really focus on helping folks with taxes and tax planning and tax resolution, make sure that comes out online. We have some clients who do other things, like we have one client who's a professor and other clients who do all these things. And sometimes they want to put those things on the website, and usually advise them, no, you're about helping people with their taxes and their tax, long-term tax returns. Yes, you can add other services later, but make sure you're cohesive, and that sends a message right from the very beginning. So it's about being consistent, cohesive on the types of clients you want to take on and your offering, and that's going to make it much more likely for people to give you a 5-star review on that offering, because it's a match. It's a match between you, your expertise, your value proposition, what makes you unique, and what those clients are looking for. And so that's super, super important. Okay, so step 2 is building your online brand. And again, you can find folks like us who can help you, because some of that does get kind of complicated. So as part of building your online brand, there's also these other sites off of your website. So there's social media, which I won't touch on today, other than what Lee said regarding Facebook and reviews. LinkedIn also has a way for you to recommend somebody in skills. So LinkedIn also has a review type feature as well, and some of the other social media sites do as well. But this webinar, we're going to focus more on some of the more traditional review sites. So we have a site called taxbuzz.com, which if you don't have a profile there, you absolutely should, after this webinar, go and claim it, or we can help you to claim it. It's free, as well as countingworks.com. And between the two, one is a little more tax focused, one is a little more virtual bookkeeping and accounting focused, and that's countingworks.com. There's also obviously Yelp, there's Google and Google My Business, lots of different places, Angie's List, Nextdoor, as Lee mentioned. There's lots of places, and we can kind of help you prioritize those, but definitely taxbuzz.com, countingworks.com, Google, those are the 3 that we really recommend folks pushing, because they're, our sites are obviously tax and accounting focused. Google is sort of the one that comes up most often and is most important in things like search engine optimization. So those are the profiles we definitely recommend that you go out and claim. And then beyond claiming them, get them looking good. So, this is Spencer Wilson. He's in Long Beach, an enrolled agent there and tax professional there, does financial work as well. But he's got what we call a TaxBuzz verified badge. And that's, another feature where we do a background check. There's blog posts on there. He's got a breakdown of his specialties. He's got lots of great 5-star reviews, which we can help with as well, but he's got those on there. Lots of great features, and just build out, and a great photo. I'm going to take off the script here and go back a little bit, because I wanted to show you the slide that I went through before, and I'm really whipping back. So these are actually not models or, stock photography. These are actually some of our clients, and the photos that you see on the left and right there. Look at those photos. Those are awesome. We did a whole blog post on this. We could do a whole webinar on it. Nice smiling folks that you want to just do business with. They look great. They look like folks who want to actually help you with your taxes and accounting. And so I wanted to show you that because that's a big part of a lot of these online profiles and getting great photos on your profiles as well. So TaxBuzz and CountingWorks and all of these sites. But one of the things we found, we actually did a study on this regarding the photos, and we found that TaxBuzz professionals get 4 times more leads from TaxBuzz, and they get 7 times as many 5-star reviews on their profiles when they have what we would classify as a good photo versus a bad photo or versus no photo or versus slapping a logo on there or something like that. 4 times more leads and 7 times more 5-star reviews on your profile. Again, and we have people who don't have good, they have sunglasses on or they're at the beach or whatever. I mean, they're just, again, we did a whole blog post on this, and we can send you after the webinar a link to that as well. But having a great, nicely built profile is super important when you're going out there to build your 5-star practice, and it's part of step 2 there. Okay, going to go ahead and go on to the next poll question, the second poll question. And again, these are in various levels of challenging. This one, again, I would say is not too challenging if you were paying attention, but do pay attention that this one is going to be a not. So which is not a recommended strategy. And let me go ahead and just launch the actual poll question versus doing it from the slide here. Okay, so which is not a recommended strategy in building a 5-star practice based on what we just went through there. So providing excellent service is A, being responsive is B, building a great website and online presence is C, or keeping your business off the internet and hoping, someone can find you, or hoping no one can find you, I should say. Which is not a recommended strategy. I'm going to go ahead and leave this open for 5 seconds. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close this one, and hopefully that was a pretty straightforward one as well. All right, so now on to step 3 with Lee.
All right, thank you. All right, so let's talk about planning for and asking for online reviews. So you'll see, and some people will say, Yelp tells us they don't recommend it. They don't want people to ask clients to review them. And again, their site is built more for kind of restaurants, foodie. There's a little bit of social thing. They put a lot of more time into or even weight into people who are active Yelpers. So it's a little bit of a different site. But the reality is you have to be aggressive and attract reviews. So where, when, how to ask. Ask right up front, ask when you complete the work or key milestones, set up specific plans for getting more reviews. That could be, putting review icons in your email. It could be using your reviews that you get on social sites and, even saying, hey, look at what other people are saying about me. So there's a lot of ways to do this. We have a great process that we do for clients that has been repeated and works like magic. We kind of focus on specific sites in the beginning. Once we get to good numbers, we'll start trying to syndicate more reviews to other websites or other review sites. So we have a kind of a method that has worked really well. So you want everybody involved, right? So you want your staff, not only being responsive, but also helping and saying, hey, we would love for you to review us, and then obviously get help from firms like us. We know how to do this. Reputation management, reputation building is part of our service.
Okay, so on to step 4, which is actively engaging. Basically, you've got your practice built out online and you're asking for reviews. So what happens? What happens when you start getting those 5-star reviews or any reviews coming back in? Well, an important thing to do is to thank them. And so this is just an example from our TaxBuzz site where a great 5-star review came in from a professional on there, and he said thank you to them. So that's super important, is to keep an eye on those reviews once they come through, and especially for clients that thank them for their review, because they spend some time, and obviously the person like on this review spent a good amount of time going into the site and going to other sites maybe and giving you 5-star reviews. So thank them for their feedback. You don't have to necessarily do it for every client. You don't necessarily have to do it on the review site itself, although that's a great strategy and definitely take the time to do it. But the other thing you can do is just thank them when they come into your office. Hey, thanks so much. I saw you put a 5-star review on Google for me the other day. That is so awesome. I really appreciate it. That'll help me, to get my business out there. So please do remember to thank them or give them a personal note or send them a nice letter. Then they're going to be much more likely to do it again for you in the future, right? So definitely important to thank them, but not always on the review site itself, although that shows that you're engaged too. And it doesn't also have to be for a fully positive review or even a 5-star review. So, and we're going to talk about the bad reviews in just a second here. So let's say there's maybe, there's a great review. They give you all kinds of positive compliments, but they said, The only thing that I recommend is maybe they get some more parking because it was a little hard to find parking or whatever it might be. Or, I wish they were open on Saturdays, or, in the midst of lots of positive things, there may be something that's constructive criticism, and you want to thank them for that as well. If this is a little bit sensitive, but if there's sort of an error, in fact, and they say, you know what, I wish they were open Saturday, you could say, well, you know what, actually we are. We're open Saturday. We just added hours, whatever, for tax time, from tax season, or whatever it may be. Be sure that you kind of thank them, but also if there are some things you want to correct, you can do it carefully though. So definitely engage and watch for those reviews that come through. Now, negative reviews. And again, this is the thing I would say we had to address a lot more often about 3 years ago. But I would say in terms of the clients who are getting these and getting blindsided and all that, but I would say a little bit less now is the sort of 1-star review and negative review. So I actually wrote a blog post on LinkedIn about this. We have it on our blog as well on the accountingworkspro.com/blog site. Lots of tips and a whole, again, could do a whole webinar on this one. But first of all, relax. The best in the business still get 1-star reviews. So do not over worry about it. Don't stress about it. Try not to, have sleepless nights about it. Take a breath, relax. And the other thing I'll say right off the bat too is don't just rip off an email or pick up the phone and call if it's a client or if it's somebody and sort of lay into them, right? That's the wrong thing to do. Take a little bit of time, and this is good advice and just in general too, is try to cool down, but relax. It's not the end of the world. And then the other sort of attitude and thought to take, the next point there is, you know what, if there's some constructive feedback in there and it's not somebody just ripping into you, it's just for whatever reason they didn't have a good experience, thank them for their feedback. Maybe thank them for, at least giving you some feedback, and also, apologize if you need to, that they didn't have a good review experience. Maybe you don't want to apologize if you felt like you did everything you needed to do with that particular client, but, say, hey, I'm sorry you had a bad experience. We really do thank you though for your feedback, and we're going to do better. Please allow us to try to do better. Try to work things out if you can. And maybe, I do suggest not responding on the site itself, but maybe trying to contact them after you've cooled down and sort of say, hey, again, do it over the phone or maybe a personal email and say, I saw that you didn't have a good experience, and boy, I'm really sorry about that, and I'd love to learn more. Do you have some time for a quick call, or just go ahead and call them and say, tell me more about what happened. Take it as feedback, and then try, if you can, to make improvements, or if you feel like it wasn't warranted or justified, you can sort of try to get that in there. This is a delicate thing. We actually, with our clients, and if you'd like, we can also send you some strategies and some copy that we've used that's been successful to say, you know what, I understand what you're saying there, but in this case, I do really feel like we performed well. And I think, you talked to our assistant and she talked you through these things. So, if you feel like it's something that you didn't do a bad job on, you can carefully sort of correct any errors and give your side of the story, but sort of go easy on that and not push it too far. And then the best thing you can do, the very best thing you can do, is just get more positive reviews, get more 5-star reviews to push the 1-star down. And hopefully, if you've already done that, this looks like a one-off, right? Or it actually validates your profile. So, you've seen them, and some of them, like 50, and it's all 5-star reviews. Like, okay, is that real? So to have, and I don't suggest you go out and get bad reviews just to make your profile more legitimate. But having one there is not always a bad thing. And in fact, that same professional that I talked to you about up in the Bay Area who has tons and tons of 5-star reviews, she does get occasionally 1-star reviews and sometimes or poor reviews or bad reviews, maybe 2 or 3 stars. And sometimes what they'll say is, you know what, she was just really too expensive for me. I'm looking for a low-cost tax return. You know what? That may not actually be a bad thing, because now you're scaring people away who that's all, they're just going on price. And you want to provide a quality service to somebody. Even though it's a 1-star review, in that case, it might not be a bad thing. And then if you get more and more positive reviews, again, it really just looks like a one-off, and it kind of balances things out and maybe even makes it look a little bit more legitimate. And so again, if you need to get help or you need to get guidance, maybe you call one of your peers, talk to somebody else and say, hey, what do you suggest? And again, we have lots of great suggestions on how to help you. And we have a blog post on this to help you address the dreaded 1-star review. But again, if you've been in business long enough or you've handled enough clients, don't worry. If you get it, it's okay. Life moves on. And we have lots of clients who are successful, even though they do get the occasional poor review. Okay. So the next poll question, and I'm going to go ahead and launch it now. Number 3 poll question. The best way to handle a 1-star review online is, and we'll go ahead and launch it here. Let's see, there it is. Okay, you should see the poll question there on your screen. The best way to handle a 1-star online review is to stick your head in the sand and hope it goes away, get really mad and go after the reviewer, or get lots of great 5-star reviews to counter the 1-star review. Okay, I'm going to give you 5 seconds on this one. And go ahead and answer it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, hopefully you got that. I'm going to go ahead and close that poll question there. There we go. And now I'm going to turn it over for the number 5 step with Lee.
All right, thank you. And yeah, Brad just nailed it. Even there's statistics that show us that having a quote unquote a lower than 5-star review actually validates the profile, and in some respects, again, Brad mentioned if you have 55 stars, it makes it more credible. So it's definitely nothing to be worried about. In reality, it might be a positive. So let's talk about letting your reviews do the selling. And part of the thing I think is really important to communicate is your clients sell you better. They tell a better story than any marketing material you could ever put together. So any tagline, any special copy, the reality is your clients will hit on issues that you would not, you wouldn't tell the same story. So it's important to take advantage of this. So post portions of positive reviews to your website. We have some different plugin tools that automate this. So you want social proof. You want these reviews front and center on your marketing materials. So any funnels that people come in on, you want to make sure that these reviews are very prominent. And a lot of times people don't get that, and that is a huge part of conversion. So 100% post your positive reviews and try to automate it so you don't have to cut and paste and put it on. Post snippets from reviews and social media sites. We do this for clients. We have an automated process that pushes reviews from our different marketplace sites directly to Facebook and other areas, and it's great, right? So they always get liked. People then, add on. It's almost like a review, and then a bunch of other fans come on and say, yeah, Leah's the best, and we've been using them for X number of years. So it's a real big element of how you should let your reviews do the selling for you. And again, this is something we alluded to before, but using your email footers and displaying any advertising, make reviews a part of your branding, a part of your marketing communication. It's a huge deal. And then, print copies of the testimonials and online reviews for your office. So, make it prominent, shout it out, right? Be proud of it. It's definitely something that kind of validates it. Again, I alluded to this earlier. It's even the prices that you can charge your clients. Take photos with your clients and then try to post along with a quote from client reviews. We have different lobby cards and different ways we've done it. There's a number of different techniques, but people love the social element. They like sharing information, pictures of themselves, pictures with people, and it's just a great way to validate and again gain more social proof through your different marketing channels. So it's definitely a very very much worth your time. So Brad, I'm going to hand it back to you to kind of recap when we get into the Q&A.
Great. Yeah. So I'm just going to recap the 5 steps with you. And so go ahead and roll those in here. And so step 1, it starts with you. Step 1, it starts with you. And so being selective, choosing your clients, being responsive, always answering your phone. Make sure you deliver a 5-star quality service and practice. So that's step 1. Step 2 is then taking that 5-star service and displaying it online in all kinds of ways, your website and SEO and social media. Make sure you build your brand and communicate that and target the types of clients you want to go after and be active online. Step 3 was to plan for and actually ask for the reviews. You do have to ask. Don't be afraid. Use tools, get staff help. You can go out there and you can get some more 5-star reviews, but you do have to ask and kind of remind folks that they're along the way. Once you start getting those reviews in, engage with them, engage with your clients, engage with maybe folks who are considering your practice maybe and see the reviews and have comments and questions. But make sure you engage and thank folks for the reviews and learn how to address those dreaded, either 1-star or poor reviews as well, and practice with that ahead of time, and that way you're prepared. So step 4 was engage, and then step 5 was, as Lee just went through, to let your reviews do the selling, the social proof. Let that be your best marketing, which is, and we may not even have, if you do all these things and you do some of the other things that we recommend in other webinars, you may not even have to pay for advertising. This is the advertising that you're going to get. Your clients, as Lee said, are your best advertising. So step 5 was display all these reviews on your blog and your website and all that. So those are 5 very good steps, and I'm going to make them even more concrete for you right here. So we talked about right after this webinar, go make sure you claim your profiles. Taxbuzz.com, accountingworks.com, Google My Business. Those are the 3 that you absolutely have to claim and build out. You can also, as Lee said, go make sure you have a nice Facebook business page and get on there, and Nextdoor, and make sure you're available on Nextdoor. There's a few of the others, Yelp and Angie's and others, but those are really the 3 top ones that we recommend, and build them out fully. Make sure you have your online built out. So your brand, your website, social, and the review sites, we can help with that, but that's real important and something you can start working on right now, today, after this webinar. It's easy and pretty cost effective, and you can get help. Set and reach goals. So for TaxBuzz and CountingWorks, set some goals for yourself. Really what we recommend is at least 5 to 10 5-star reviews on the main profile sites, including TaxBuzz, Accounting Works, and Google per year, because that's the other key thing too, is you can get lots of great reviews, but Google does have a freshness score as well, and people have freshness scores, if you want to call it that, where if they see, oh, look at this, 25-star reviews for this tax pro, let me go check out their profile, and the reviews are from 5 years ago. They're going to wonder, wait a minute, what happened? Are they still in business? So there is a freshness aspect to that. So 5 to 10 per year is what we recommend. We have tools that can help you, and put a plan in place though to go get those reviews and set goals for yourself. As I said, get help if you need it, and then promote your reviews. So if you do already have reviews, put them on your website. We have plugins that we can use, as Lee said, I think, to get those on your website. But go out, today or tomorrow, maybe post something on your social media. So these 5 steps you can do today, right now, after this webinar. And one of those was to get help, one of those steps. And so I'm also going to combine it with the poll question here and say this is how you can get some help. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this. But would you like some help? It's a really simple poll question, and will also make things effective because you're going to get some help if you answer this poll question. So I'm going to go ahead and launch it. Please do answer this poll question. It's really important. Let us know what kinds of help you need. Do you need help generating 5-star reviews and getting those on your profile? Those are worth 4 times more leads and 7 times more reviews, is to have a great profile and photo built out on your profile. And so you can generate more business by getting these and have a long-term value to practice. So please do respond to the poll question. We do love to help. And so please respond to that. I'm going to go ahead and close it in 5 seconds. So we'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, go ahead and close that one. So thank you for answering that. And then, and I'm going to go ahead and, as promised, if you do need help, and that results in also, signing up with us in one of our subscriptions. You don't have to, obviously, there's a lot of things you can do in this webinar on your own, but we do find that accounting and tax professionals do need help on some of these things, because sometimes it does get more technical. And to really knock it out of the park, you really, really, really do need to get help on some of these aspects. And we're going to make it really easy to do that and building your 5-star practice by giving you these great discounts and offers. So if you mention Web20, you'll get 20% off the first 3 months of these packages. They're already really affordable. Our pricing, we can give you information on that, but you're going to get 20% more off for the first 3 months. We're also going to give you $100 off your TaxBuzz Pro or Accounting Works Pro packages. We actually are doing a 2-for-1 on that too. So you actually get Accounting Works Pro, Accounting Works Pro and TaxBuzz Pro profiles, premium profiles, 2 for the price of 1, and we're going to waive all setup fees. So this does expire, so please do this right away if you have interest, and we're going to have, Steve or somebody on our team reach out to you, or you can reach out to us, and we can get you more information on this and some of the different options we have. So questions, we did throughout the webinar there, we had the little questions box. And so if you have questions, please do hit the little questions box. And like I said, we can't probably get to all of them, but I did want to go ahead and answer some questions now. So I'll just put the first one out there, Lee, and we can kind of take turns and respond together. But Sure. The one that we get very, very often is, should I do advertising? And I like to address this on pretty much every webinar, because we get it almost every webinar. Should I, we mentioned Facebook and recommendations, should I on top of that, or in addition to that, or should I do ads on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Google, or any of these other places? What place and when does advertising play in the scheme of things compared to all the other things I need to do in terms of getting reviews? Lee, if you want to go ahead and try to take that one.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously say work on the organic side first. So there's so many things you can do before you start throwing dollars at campaigns that may or may not work. The reality is a lot of the things we're talking about are what we call evergreen content. So reviews stay there forever, right? So a ranking on a review site, if Google starts recognizing a brand that is well reviewed and has a bunch of Accounting Works and TaxBuzz and Yelp reviews and has a strong profile, they're going to, one, rank your brand higher, but more importantly, that pays off forever, right? So the more reviews and the better your profile, these are things that are delivering return on your investment or your time spent for years to come. And it's a competitive barrier to entry, right? So brands that are own markets and brands that have really strong reputations basically make it much harder for someone else to kind of come into your targeted audience. And the only way they may be able to do that is by paying for ads and other things. And that is a hard thing for a lot of tax and accounting professionals to run. So a lot of PPC campaigns, display ads, whatever you want to call it, we've seen kind of very low success rates, but things like blogging and content marketing and reviews and social proof are things that we see huge returns on. So I think is that a good answer, Brad?
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
what they're asking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, definitely there's lots of ways to max out what you can do with your website and with social media and lots of different email marketing, things that are either pretty low cost or pretty easy to do. And we find vast majority of clients don't even max those things out. So before as Lee said, you kind of do the organic and kind of more natural things. And a lot of clients that we work with don't end up needing to do very much advertising. You can do seasonal advertising sometimes, or if you start a new practice or you're in a new market, move to a new city. There's certain situations where we might say, yeah, you might consider it, but I would say for vast majority of clients and vast majority of situations, you need to max out what you can do organically first before you really need to think about spending too much money in paid ads per se. Great question. And then the other question, Lee, came in is about the sort of the fear that people have. And so, what if I get a 1-star review? Or so what's sort of a strategy if you're really concerned, or what's sort of your, I guess, peace of mind that you give somebody if they're worried about, hey, there might be that person that I don't know about out there that's going to give me a zinger and give me a 1-star review.
And you know this because we talk to our clients, and this happened more in we call it the old days at the beginning of when we started really pushing the whole concept of reputation management for tax and accounting firms. Even some of our biggest doubters, people that I'm not going to do this, I'll never ask for a review. We have seen very few that have had a failed campaign. If you are responsive, if you have good relations with your clients. In our experience, we have seen, and the professionals we work with, occasionally, yes, some of our stars get 1-star reviews, but it is very rare. And people, even our biggest doubters, I don't want to mention names, but we have some clients that just really push the, really against, doing reviews. And we finally, after literally years, got them to jump on it, and boom, right away, they have great review profiles now. They've had a big lift in their SEO benefits, a lot more traffic, and conversions for clients. So I don't know if that helps ease the stress, but that's kind of my feedback on it, what we've seen in real life, with our client base.
Yeah, I absolutely. And the other thing I'll say too is for those clients who do occasionally come to us and say, oh, I'm real reluctant, and we kind of get them over the hump, 100% of them say, oh my gosh, why did I worry about this? Why didn't I do it sooner is actually the comment that we usually get is, why didn't you guys tell me? Of course, they don't say that because we pretty much pound on our clients to make sure
they still say that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, don't be afraid and, just take the leap and we can help you. Yeah, I mean, we've had clients get, we have a little email that's built into the platform that we send on behalf of our clients. It goes from the professional, so it's branded with your branding and your logo and everything. It's just a real nice email that says, hey, if I've done a good job for you, would you mind giving me some feedback and visiting my profiles? And we will list, TaxBuzz or Accounting Works or Google or whatever's on there. And we've had clients get 10, 20, 30. I mean, we have one guy, and Lee knows this, who got 90 5-star reviews, and he was one of the doubters. But you definitely can get lots of great reviews, and don't be afraid to do it, and because it'll pay off in the long run, and you'll be thanking us and wishing you did it sooner. Okay, Lee, I don't know if you have any other questions that you see. Go ahead.
There's a couple here. So one was I mentioned social proof in the presentation, but one of the questions are, okay, explain a little bit more of what social proof is, and Brad, I'll start and then you can kind of jump in. But think of social proof is things that from the outside world that validate what you're saying you can do and what the problems you say you're solving kind of validate or make people feel there's less risk to work with you. So examples of this are, when you visit a website and they have, join these other brands that work with us, and they have, some major brands or companies in your area that are clients that you've got permission to show, or if you've been quoted in articles for Forbes, or, we blog and we quote in TaxBuzz, Accounting Works, our clients, so as seen in such and such and such, how many clients, trusted by over 850 clients in the X area. I think those are all areas that, kind of the psychology behind them make it a less risky decision to work with you. And you need to use these prominently. These are the elements that should be on your website, on any of your marketing landing pages, funnels, social landing pages, whatever it is. And these things are more important than a lot of the, the things the traditional tax and accounting person wants to put. I want to show every single designation and certification that I have. Well, certifications are a form of social proof, but the reality is there's a lot of different signals that help, convert visitors who are new to your brand to trust from just the marketing presence. So I think that's a crucial thing. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Brett.
Yeah, and so I always like to sort of boil it down to examples you may be familiar with, right? So you need to hire a plumber, to fix a leak in your house, or just think of the things where you're looking for a professional, or you're looking for a type of service, or you're buying something online. What do you do? What do you look for? What are the things that sort of move the needle for you? If you think about it in that way, it's no different for accountants and tax professionals. It really isn't, because people now, they are used to having all this information and the proof that's out there, and they go out and find it. And if they see something that turns them off, like Lee said, the statistics show, a lot less likely to click on you and a lot less likely to call you. If they see lots of positive things out there, a lot more likely to call you. So, this is, as we said, it is, even though it's somewhat common sense, and we have fancy names for it, like social proof, but it's absolutely true. And this is a fundamental shift, as Lee said. Again, we don't like to get into the negatives of things, but we do need to sort of, it's our duty to sort of warn folks when we see big changes come in. And we've seen this big change coming over the past few years, especially where, you don't really have a choice anymore. You kind of have to do this. And this is, it's going to help your practice and going to help you stand out long term. Fortunately, it's easy to do. So absolutely, yeah, we have fancy terms like social proof, but really it's what and you can put your hands on and put your mind around if you think about it in terms of examples of what you do and what you look for online. Do you have another one there, Lee, that you wanted to?
Yeah, I do. And I like throwing out social proof, and that, you just know, at least I'm studying what's going on.
We know our stuff too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So this is a common one, and this is a question that came through, but it's kind of and I'll just paraphrase it. I get plenty of my clients from referrals, or I get all my clients from referrals. Why do I need reviews? And we mentioned this in the presentation, and I'll give my 2 cents, and Brad, you can chime in. But the reality is, there's not. I mean, I would say 95% of the people who receive a referral from somebody are going to Google that person's name. They're going to at least do some due diligence to see what they find online. And based on what that picture is, we went through the different, the Google real estate, whatever, being any social or any search engine, what they see, or if they visited your site, kind of the social proof behind it. What they see then is really going to dictate if they call and they stop their search. And it is a crucial element that we use. And then I strongly believe that if your presence looks even more professional, if you are that 5-star practice, if your fees are higher, you can charge more. And we see it all the time. People will say, well, why can so-and-so charge X? And I'm doing the same quality work. They're no better than me. And the reality is because of trust and branding. And the online presence really kind of makes it easier for them to do that. So there's and Brad, you can add it.
Absolutely, yeah. And the other thing too, I mean, we look at in terms of long-term value, and I was just talking to a client about this actually this morning, about what is your long-term plan for your practice? Do you have a succession plan? Do you want to sell it? Do you have family members who want to take it over? What's the long-term plan? Because at the end of that plan, you're going to look at these reviews as like an asset on your balance sheet, and hopefully it's an asset and not a liability, right? To put it in accounting terms. That this is going to be a huge asset for your practice and something somebody's going to be buying. So if you've got lots and lots of 5-star reviews, guess what? Your practice is going to be worth a lot more. If you've got lots of 1-star reviews or you don't have anything out there online, guess what? In the modern world, they're going to look at that, and that's going to be more of a liability and less of an asset. Cool. Yeah. So I have one more question that came in that I'm going to take, Lee. But if you have one more. Or?
No, I'm good, and we're pushing an hour. So
okay. I think real quick one. I'm going to just answer this because it's kind of important. So. I can't get my clients to give me 5-star reviews. I've tried, and I don't get very many. And this is also a common thing. And we talked about it earlier. You have to sort of start right from the get-go. As Lee talked about, you have to use the tools. You do have to sometimes you can have a call campaign where you can have an assistant in your office call out to them. You don't want to harass them, obviously, but there's nice ways to do it. And we can follow up with you afterwards because that's an important one. And we do have some clients, your clients are busy. So it is tough sometimes to get them to, and we totally understand that. But we've had a lot of success even in those situations. So reach out to us and we can definitely help you. Great. Well, thanks so much for everyone for attending. Leon, you say goodbye to the folks?
I will say goodbye. I'll add one thing to what you just said, and we'll close it up. you can even start engagements by saying, hey, you know, my business is built by word of mouth. If I earned your trust and do a great job with you, you know, we would love to hear from you on any of our marketplace sites. And, you know, when we're done with this engagement, we'll reach out to you via email and send you some links that we would love for you to review us. And it's another a little more proactive, and I don't think it's something that should feel uncomfortable to ask for. I mean, people get it there, and it's kind of setting expectations. So that's just another way to make it a little more prominent, you know, as you work forward with clients, of saying, hey, this is the expectations. If I do a great job, you know, reviewing.
Absolutely. Well, great. Thank you, Lee. And thank you, everyone, for attending. We really appreciate you joining us today. Again, you'll get some information on the CPE credit if that is something you're looking for. So look for an email out from us. If you've also asked for some help from us, and we'll definitely have somebody reach out to you and somebody on our team, and we can take a look at your online profiles and help, you know, talk to you about the current kind of state of your 5 stars out there and your reputation online, and we can help you kind of come up with some ways to make things better. And if you have any questions for us, have our contact information as well. So thanks again for everyone for attending, and we'll see you soon.
All right, thank you.